Welcome to the Sporty Dietitian Podcast, a show that helps you simplify your nutrition and amplify your activity. I'm your host, Sarah, a board-certified sports dietitian, personal trainer, and expert in sports nutrition. Today, we are going to talk about the best 2023 New Year's resolutions that you can actually keep. Let's get into it. It is that time of year. We are into the month of December, so it's time that people are probably starting to forget their healthy lifestyle goals, move into the delicious holiday food and snacking that comes with the season of the holidays, and probably thinking about, what am I going to do next year? I do want to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a huge fan of New Year's resolutions that are geared towards health and fitness if you do them the wrong way. And that's because a lot of people do them the wrong way. They're thinking about, extreme changes that you have to make rather than sustainable lifestyle approaches to being an active person and being a healthy person. So instead of giving you one specific New Year's resolution to stick to, I want to get your ideas rolling, your thoughts processing, and let that guide some intentionality for the new year or now. You can do it now. You don't have to wait till the new year, but January 1 is a very popular time for people to get in that mindset. So if you would like to start, then be my guest. So the first resolution that you can have for yourself is thinking about incorporating intentional and frequent movement versus physical activity. The vocabulary that you choose to use is so powerful. When I personally decided to start thinking about incorporating daily movement or intentional movement versus having to train every day or having to work out or exercise every day, I literally felt more willing to complete my workouts or my daily movement. A lot of my own personal activity involves walking my dog. I don't run if I don't want to. I don't do high intensity interval training if I don't want to. And yes, I'm a certified personal trainer, and I'm here to tell you that you can still feel awesome, meet your goals, and not feel like you have to push yourself in a hard exercise every single day. If you want to and your fueling needs are adequate and you are meeting the demands of your exercise, then go for it. Give yourself 1 day of complete full rest and recovery. But think about how your weekly exercise is going to play out. It absolutely 100% does not have to be an intentional, hard, high intensity workout, every day of the week. What's recommended by the American College of Sports Medicine for optimal health is at least 150 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, which can be walking, right? And that breaks down to roughly 30 minutes, 5 days per week. On top of that, incorporating a resistance training 2 days per week, training all of the major muscle groups. So that would be full body, hitting your chest, back, quads, glutes, hamstrings, arms, all of that good stuff, at least 2 days a week. I am an upper, lower split type of gal. So for me, I would need to commit to 4 days per week. But those could be shorter weightlifting sessions or resistance training sessions because I'm just focusing on one area of my body and not my full body. Now, if you are someone who is interested in reaping more performance and training adaptations or weight loss, 300 minutes per week is what's recommended. And again, your fueling needs to be adequate. If you are decreasing your fuel daily, so your calories, and you are ramping up your activity, that is not what we're shooting for. More exercise means more calories. So please do not forget that. Even if you're interested in weight loss, especially if you're interested in body recomposition, you have to make sure that you're eating enough of the right things to actually reap the training benefits and the training adaptations that occur, including weight loss. On top of that, we also want to try and incorporate daily mobility. I am guilty of forgetting this. I have an app that I really like to use. I do have to pay for it. It's a daily mobility app. It's fairly cheap. You pay yearly and it breaks down to like $10 or less per month. And that's what helps keep me mindful of my flexibility. Adding in daily mobility training can enhance how you perform on or in your daily exercise, cardio, and resistance training wise. It can also harm those types of exercise if you aren't practicing proper mobility and stretching the things correctly. Like you can pull things and create injuries if you're doing it wrong. So if you are someone who's never done mobility training before, maybe seek out the help of an app or some form of program to help you do that. And then you have some tools in your toolbox going forward. You can incorporate that more regularly on your own. I also want to put out there that your movement does not have to be in a formal gym setting. I just recently moved back to my hometown and I don't have a gym. I literally do my exercise outside and in my bedroom. I have very, very minimal weights. I have a small barbell. I have 2 25-pound plates, 4 3-pound plates, 5-pound dumbbells, 3-pound dumbbells, 2-pound dumbbells, and bands. And that's what I use. And it gets the job done. Is it what I'm used to when I do more high intensity styles of exercise or when I am in a formal gym setting? No, but I'm in a place right now where that's the kind of exercise that I want to do, and I can commit to at least 4 days of activity, and that's what works for me. It's not what I've done in the past. It's not consistently in terms of this is a change that I've recently made because of the stage of life that I'm in, and I feel fantastic being able to still commit to exercise, even though it may be less intense and different than what I previously was doing. And the last thing that I'll say about focusing on movement versus exercise is that walking counts. Walking is exercise. If you're someone who does CrossFit 4 days a week and you do, a day of walking 3 miles, you're not going to be training the same systems and reaping the same training adaptations, but you are still going to be moving, and that's great for your health. It's great for your mental and your physical health. Of course, again, if you are allowing your body to rest when it needs to, if you're sick, if you have an injury, and all of that good stuff. So keep all of those things in mind. If you want to make a New Year's resolution guided towards your activity, I encourage you to guide it more towards movement and create goals that are realistic for you where you are at. And I want you to change those as your seasons of life change. All right, let's talk about another New Year's resolution that's very popular, and it's geared towards dieting. So with dieting and weight loss and thinking about changing your health status, usually comes some form of self-awareness. A lot of that self-awareness is through calorie tracking. What I want to put out there is if you feel tracking will be helpful to increase your self-awareness, then track. If you have previously had an unhealthy relationship between you and a calorie tracking app or weighing foods or portioning, then don't track. You can do either or and still be equally as successful at meeting your goals. I think tracking is appropriate for someone who wants to hone in on the nutrient composition of their food, and for someone who knows that they can keep their mindset in a healthy place with tracking in an app. If you cannot eat food without knowing how many calories or how many macros is in it, or you can't eat food without knowing the portion size or knowing all the ingredients within it, that's not healthy. If you can go a day without tracking and don't really care to eat things that you don't necessarily know what is in it, right? Then I think that tracking is appropriate to do. And really what we do know is that research does support that calorie tracking apps can enhance progress towards your weight loss goals specifically. So there was a study that was done, and it's posted in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. It was a randomized controlled trial, so it was one of the gold standards of research that we look at when we're validating types of research. They looked at about 41 adults that were classified as overweight or obese. They had 3 different groups. They had ones that didn't track, they had ones that tracked in a calorie tracking app, and they had participants that tracked in a photo food tracking app. If you've never used one of those, I used to use those with some of my previous clients, and it was cool. You don't track calories, you just take pictures of everything that you eat and drink. So that can be a different form of accountability that's a little bit less intense, less of a commitment per se. Anyways, they followed these people for 6 months, and they did find that those who tracked their calories in a calorie tracking app were more successful and did have significant weight loss. However, one important note is that the adherence to the calorie tracking was actually pretty low. So they still reaped significant weight loss using a calorie tracking app when only tracking less than 30% of the time. So I hope that can give you some insight into, hey, you can track your calories, but you can also not track it, and you can probably still meet the goals that you have for yourself. So when we think about being healthy or losing weight or changing body composition or doing this, that, and the other related to your nutrition and the goals that you have for yourself with your health, a lot of times puts us in this mindset of subtraction. What can I restrict? What can I take away? What do I need to take away? And I want you to gear your New Year's resolution towards what you can add versus what you need to subtract. With your plate, if you have a boring brown and yellow plate that's not colorful, doesn't have a whole lot of nutrition, but has okay portion sizes, let's think about adding color, adding a fruit, adding a vegetable, adding a whole grain, adding fiber, adding water, fluids. Think about things that you can add to improve the overall nutrient density of your food, and you will meet your healthy lifestyle goals. Sarah, that's confusing because if I need to lose weight, if I need to change my body composition, I need to subtract things. No, you don't. Probably a little bit in some areas, but you should not have a subtraction mindset. You should have an addition mindset. So many people that are not educated properly in nutrition promote that restrictive and that subtractive mindset. And don't focus on the nutrient composition of your foods. By including fruits and vegetables and fluids and whole grains, what you're doing is you are acting on the satiety that a meal provides for you. You're making sure that that meal actually makes you full. If you just eat pasta with a little bit of protein, you may not be as satiated and may get hungrier sooner if you were to have the carbohydrate food, the protein food. Maybe you swap the carbohydrate food for a whole grain option. So instead of doing regular pasta, you do whole wheat, and then you do your protein, just like we said. And then you do a fiber-dense carbohydrate. So maybe you throw some broccoli in there. And then you have a cup of strawberries because we need to add some color to our plate. And then you also make sure you hydrate adequately throughout the day. If weight loss is your goal, the addition of those things will create weight loss. Of course, if other things are accounted for as well, exercise, calorie deficits, and things like that. You can still be in a calorie deficit through addition of things within your food. And oftentimes, I've talked about it before, I'll talk about it again, we subtract too many things. We restrict too many things. You do not need to be eating super, super low calorie to reach your lifestyle and your weight loss goals. You need to make sure that you're estimating your calorie needs correctly, and a lot of times the apps are incorrect. If you are achieving those goals through coupling calorie allotment and your exercise, we don't need a deficit in both. We need a deficit really in one. So either increase your exercise and keep your fueling adequate, or keep your exercise normal, or be sedentary, which is not what I would recommend, but that is a way to do it and decrease your calories. Okay, let's move into our next New Year's resolution. I think out of all of these recommendations, this would be the one that I would encourage you to do the most. And it's so counterintuitive to what our society promotes and what a lot of health coaches and nutritionists promote. And that is, instead of going for a cheat meal or restricting for 6 weeks and then binging on God knows what, I want you to include one fun food every single day. A fun food is a food that you eat because you love it, because it's fun, because it's delicious, not because it has health properties. I personally love me some good cookie dough. maybe some chips. I'm a huge Ruffles fan, huge Cheetos fan with all the artificial dyes. Yes, give them to me. But I don't choose to do those in large portions in big settings. I choose to do those occasionally throughout time. You are creating a thought process of in your head, I can eat foods I love whenever I want to. You are promoting inclusion. We are a food inclusive podcast here. We want to promote including foods in healthful ways more routinely than we do less. Because when we tell ourselves that we can't have something, that this is going to do this to me, and this, that, and the other, all of these negative thoughts, that's all we think about. And then we binge on it. And then we restrict because we're guilty and we don't feel good about that decision. And then you just create that process again and again, the restriction cycle, the diet cycle. And it's a horrible process to be in because you can never get out of that if you don't truly allow yourself to have those delicious foods whenever you want to. And the other thing that does too is it allows you to say no if you don't want it. I have fudge in my apartment right now. And last night I wanted some, but not a lot. So I cut it in fourths. By the way, I enjoy a good piece of junk food when I want to. I don't always cut my pieces of chocolate up in fourths, but I wanted to savor it and I wanted to have more throughout the holidays. I had a very small piece and it was delicious. Today, I may not want any sweets. I may not want any fun foods, but I know in my head, I tell myself, if I want it, I can have it. And that creates a really positive relationship between me and delicious foods. And I wish that for you as well. Okay, so we're talking about all of these changes that we're going to make in the year 2023, and maybe you have specific goals for yourself. And how do we track that progress? Oftentimes, it's through the number on the scale, it's a BMI, it's a body fat percentage. I want you to focus on tracking your progress. You can do the numbers if you want, but I want you to figure out other ways to track your progress that don't involve numbers. So throw the scale away for a little bit. Maybe don't go get your body composition tested for a little bit and think about, how am I feeling? Do I have better energy? Can I play with my kids outside a little bit longer? Can I hang out with my friends and do active things more so than I used to? Am I feeling stronger in the gym? Am I running a little bit faster? Do I feel more joyful? All of those things are completely sufficient ways to measure your progress. So do not identify your success with a number and instead focus on what progress looks, sounds, and feels like to you. And do not compare yourself to how the person next to you chooses to measure their progress. There are going to be health professionals and people that are helping you, are facilitating your healthy lifestyle goals that are going to say, let's do your weight, let's test your waist circumference. And that's fine. Maybe ask them not to share it with you. Maybe for 2023, you focus on how are you feeling? How are your clothes fitting? Are they changing in a way that makes them more comfortable? Is your skin glowing more? Are you happier? And then after a year's time, have whoever's tracking your numbers share that with you or not. They don't have to. You don't have to want them. But if that's a piece, if you're a data-driven person and you like to know that data is being collected, maybe try and opt for that behind the scenes rather than checking in routinely and weighing yourself, daily. You absolutely do not need to be doing that because your weight just fluctuates so often based on so many different variables. So I challenge you to think of a different way to track your progress. If you're having a problem generating what that looks like for you, other than what I recommended, comment on this. Send me a question. I'll help reason through that with you because that's a powerful piece to being healthy long term, and living a high quality life is not necessarily worrying about the numbers piece, but feeling awesome and having a healthy relationship with food and the gym and your body. So with 2023 being right around the corner, I hope that these pieces of information were helpful to guide you towards a healthier New Year's resolution to help you with whole body health rather than just achieving a specific numbers-based goal. Health is so much more than just the numbers. It's about how you feel. It's about your mood. It's about the relationships that you have. And it's about how you feel. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Sporty Dietitian Podcast. I will see you guys next time.